It's now 5:30 on WKYT this morning. A judge is expected to make a decision in the state's lawsuit against a Lexington women's clinic today. Voters in 5 delegate-rich states will be heading to the polls today to decide who should be their party's presidential nominee. We'll have the latest from the campaign trail ahead. And presidential candidate Hillary Clinton's plan for creating clean energy jobs could bring changes to the Kentucky coal industry.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning to you, and it's so good to have you with us on WKYT as we get this day off and rolling on your Tuesday, the 15th of March. I'm Bill Bryant. I want to check in with meteorologist Micah Harris, who's tracking a pretty good day ahead. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, it's really nice outside. It feels great. Just stepped outdoors in the 50s, and also the rain has cleared on out. See how the cloud cover overhead. It's not going to be the best looking day as we have mostly cloudy skies. But temperatures starting off in the 50s, a couple of 40s far south. They will transition into the 70s later on this afternoon, as 72 degrees will be our high. This will be the fifth day here in the month of March for the first 15 days, the fifth day that we've actually been in the 70s. That's pretty remarkable. We get off into the evening and overnight, and that's when we start to see some rain move on in. We're going to talk about this rain chance in the forecast coming up in a few minutes.
And we'll see you then. Thank you, Micah. In the news this morning, in just a few hours, a judge is scheduled to make a ruling in a lawsuit against a Lexington women's clinic. Governor Matt Bevin's administration is suing the EMW Women's Clinic on Burt Road, claiming the clinic is performing illegal abortions. WKYT's Mark Barber is joining us live now with more on the case. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, Bill. The hearing starts at 9 this morning here at the Circuit Courthouse. The governor is hoping that the judge will rule in favor of the state and order the clinic to stop performing abortions. Now, that facility has already decided to temporarily stop doing abortions there at the EMW Women's Clinic while they wait to hear what the judge decides today. Governor Matt Bevin's administration filed a lawsuit against the clinic a couple weeks ago, claiming the facility is performing unlicensed abortions. State inspectors visited the facility off Nicholasville Road last month after they received an anonymous complaint. Their inspectors say they found the clinic was unsanitary, had expired medications in the operating room, and did not have the required transfer agreement with an ambulance service. According to the cabinet, that agreement is critical because if there are complications during an abortion, the woman has to be rushed to the hospital. EMW employees are not discussing the lawsuit, but critics say this is not the first abortion clinic that Bevin has targeted. The ACLU says they are concerned about an increasingly hostile climate toward accessing abortion in Kentucky. Supporters tell WKYT that they think the governor is just trying to protect women's health and make sure clinics are not operating without regulatory oversight. Ultimately, this case is in the judge's hands, and the highly contentious case, the hearing for it, will begin in just 3.5 hours. Live in Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Mark, thank you. And of course, we'll be following up here at WKYT. And voters in 5 states, including Florida and Ohio, head to the polls today to decide who should be their party's presidential nominee. The outcome of the primary contest could put Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump closer to victory. Don Champion has the latest now from Miami, Florida.
Bernie Sanders riled up supporters late last night in Chicago, urging them to take him to victory.
Let us see this great state help lead the country into a political revolution.
Hoping to slow Hillary Clinton's momentum, Sanders is looking for upsets in Illinois, Ohio, and Missouri today. But the Vermont senator faces an uphill battle in the delegate-rich states of Florida and North Carolina, where Clinton holds a sizable lead.
I am asking for your support. I would be honored to receive it.
Millions of votes have already been cast here in the winner-take-all state of Florida, where on the Republican side, Donald Trump leads Marco Rubio 2-1 in polls. A Trump win here will likely spell the end for Rubio's campaign.
We have to vote tomorrow. Don't stay home. Make sure no one stays home.
And thrusts the billionaire candidate closer to locking up the Republican nomination.
He won't clinch, but he'll have a commanding lead in delegates and be in a commanding position to get the rest that he needs.
Kasich cannot make America great again. Can't do it.
In the winner-take-all state of Ohio, Trump is neck and neck with John Kasich, the popular governor.
And give me a vote so I can continue to run for president of the United States.
In Missouri, Ted Cruz is fighting Trump for delegates. And in Illinois, the latest CBS News Battleground Tracker poll has Cruz within striking distance. Don Champion, CBS News, Miami.
And Governor John Kasich has signaled that he would drop out of the race if he loses his home state of Ohio, making this Super Tuesday even more of a do or die for his campaign. It's going to be an interesting day and evening ahead as those votes come in. One of the Democratic presidential candidates, Hillary Clinton's platform, involves creating clean energy jobs. That could mean changes for the coal industry. WKYT's Mike Byer is at our live desk with more on some of Clinton's comments. Good morning.
Good morning, Bill. During Sunday night's CNN Democratic Town Hall in Columbus, Ohio, Hillary Clinton said she wants to replace coal jobs with clean energy jobs. But at the same time, Clinton said she doesn't want to leave coal miners behind. Clinton followed that up by releasing a statement on Monday saying she plans to create Coal Communities Challenge Fund to protect coal workers' benefits and pensions while transitioning coal country to clean energy industries. According to the Associated Press, Clinton was touting a plan she released last year that would set aside $30 billion to protect the health benefits for coal miners and their families. The number of coal workers in the U.S. has dwindled to just over 57,000, which is a record low since data was tracked. Now, the top three coal-producing states of Kentucky, Wyoming, and West Virginia all saw production declines of between 5% and 20% in 2015. At the live desk, Mike Byer, WKYT.
Mike, thank you. A bill that would allow early voting without an excuse of any kind has passed the Kentucky House. That bill now moves on to the Senate. It would allow any registered voter in Kentucky to vote early at least 12 working days leading up to the Sunday before Election Day. The early voting period would include 2 Saturdays. Kentucky Secretary of State Allison Lundergan Grimes is pushing for the bill, but opponents say early voting would be difficult for county clerks with small office staffs. Concerns are growing about a bill that would allow classes about the Bible to be taught in Kentucky public schools. That bill received unanimous approval from the Senate Education Committee last week, and supporters say the Bible would be taught as literature and that the class would not be a requirement for students. But the Anti-Defamation League says it has, quote, deep concern that the bill would result in unconstitutional teaching of religious doctrine in public schools. The organization says the bill needs safeguards to make sure that doesn't happen. Winchester police have released surveillance pictures of a man wanted in connection to a bank fraud case. They say the case involves an ATM. They did not provide any more details. They say a similar crime happened in a nearby city, so they think the suspect may not be from Winchester. It appears a proposal to build a homeless shelter in Jessamine County is moving forward. In a Facebook post last night, the Jessamine County Homeless Coalition said Nicholasville City Commissioners have approved the shelter. The city had to change the wording of a zoning classification before plans for the shelter could continue. This morning, we now know more about what led to a moped getting stuck under an SUV and then catching on fire in Lexington. The driver of the SUV pulled into a parking lot on Fortune Court off Fortune Drive after it happened yesterday. Police say the incident started with an argument between teenagers at a different location. They say teens driving the SUV stole money from another teenager on the moped and then drove off. Police say the teen on the moped followed the SUV to the stoplight at Winchester Road and Fortune Drive, and then tried to grab his money from inside the SUV. What happened next shocked a lot of people in that area.
Car came pulling down through here, dragging a scooter. It pulled into our driveway right there at the end, on fire. Flames coming up the side. Guys just jumped out of it, kind of just took off running that way.
Police say the SUV tried to make a U-turn, but the moped became stuck under its tire. As for the teen on the moped, police say he got his money back and is okay. Well, the sight of it caught a lot of people by surprise around the world, and now professional kayakers may be facing some fines after deciding to ride over Cumberland Falls. Video of the stunt went viral over the weekend. Kayakers Nick Troutman and Dane Jackson both rode their kayaks right over the falls. There you see it. Troutman says riding the falls was a personal goal and a result of 15 years of kayaking professionally. However, achieving that goal may cost both men a couple of $100s in citations.
It's quite dangerous for the people participating in that type of activities, as well as our rangers and the other first responders that would have to respond.
Both men were cited for trespassing, which could bring fines worth a couple of $100s each. Despite the citations, the kayakers say they understand why those rules are in place. Johnson County native and Grammy Award-winning country music artist Chris Stapleton will be hosting a free concert in the Bluegrass next week. Stapleton will be in Paintsville on March 24th. Free tickets were given out yesterday. Now there is a waiting list to purchase them. The concert will begin at 7 p.m. at Johnson Central High School. Stapleton won 2 Grammys this year, one for Best Country Album and a second for Country Solo Performance. A Lexington restaurant has closed just 3 months after opening its doors. Macho Nacho, formerly located at High Street and Euclid Avenue in Chevy Chase, closed over the weekend. In a Facebook post, the owner, Aaron Rotke, said the restaurant went well over budget in opening and was low on working capital. He also said the payroll and food costs were too high and sales were not keeping up. Rotke says the restaurant is now considering its options. Well, a yellow decal on your car window can help first responders if you're injured in a crash. Kentucky State Police are taking part in the Yellow Dot program along with the Knox County Sheriff's Office and other law enforcement agencies. If you put a yellow sticker on one of your car's windows, that will tell first responders that you have a medical condition that they need to know about. You'll also need to fill out a pamphlet with that medical info. You can get a yellow dot at any state police post or at the Knox County Sheriff's Office. 5:42 is the time this morning, and let's check live drive traffic bright and early, see what is going on this Tuesday. And here's a look at the region with current traffic. A lot of green on there. No reports of any major problems early this morning. Closer to town, as you see, a little bit of a slowdown, it looks like, for some reason this morning on Russell Cave. So we'll check that out here in just a little bit. And also US 60, a little bit of a delay there as you approach I-75. We'll keep a watch on these a couple of items this morning. But again, no reports of any delays, so it looks like you're good to go this morning. Still a lot more news coming up on WKYT on your Tuesday, including a look at your weather forecast from Micah.
Yeah, good feel out there this morning in the 50s. By the afternoon, you're talking about an awesome day in store in the 70s. Better enjoy it because it goes down from here on out. And I'm going to show you those numbers coming up next.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
We're waking up early this morning and about to head out. Well, you're walking into really nice conditions. Maybe a little patchy fog here and there, but for the most part, I'm not seeing any issues out on the roadways. We haven't heard of any. 75, 64, all looks well. 27, 127, the parkways. No problems whatsoever. We're 55 degrees now in Richmond. Mount Sterling coming in at 55 in Winchester, my friends, in Clark County. Good morning to you guys coming in the mid-50s. Go northbound, north of I-64. It doesn't really matter where you go. It's a pretty decent feel. Somerset, Science Hill, Fabish, go off into Monticello and also Powersburg. We're looking at temperatures there across Adair County, Russell County, those areas in the 40s. Then we're talking about 70s by the afternoon. Now through March 14th, through yesterday, for this year, we've hit 70-plus degrees 4 times. Put that in perspective, last year through March 14th, we didn't hit it 1 time. And you know what? We'll add to that. It'll be 5 times 70-plus degrees through March 15th, through the first 15 days of this year. And like I said, we didn't do that once last year. So that kind of puts it in perspective. We're well ahead of the game as we continue to progress through the next few days. It's not going to see anything close to what we're seeing today. You better enjoy it. At 72 degrees, get the kids outside. It's going to be one of those days you'll just want to enjoy out and about. On the patio, just fine there in the upper 60s to around 70, anywhere from 6 p.m. to about 8 p.m. And we head off into the night. 11 p.m. will be dry. But once we hit midnight off into 6, 7 a.m., that's why you don't see any rain there on the screen, because during that time, in between this graphic right here, we're talking about some rain moving on through it. That's going to be a line of showers, possibly a few rumbles of thunder, but for the most part, showers rolling on through from midnight to about 7 a.m., and then that pushes on out, and it looks like Wednesday will actually be a pretty nice day in store. Then we get off into the afternoon on Wednesday, and we're talking about 60s, not 70s, but 60s. Then watch this. We get off into Thursday, starting off in the 40s, finishing off in the 50s. It just drops every single day. That's pretty cool right there. Now typically, that'd actually be pretty nice. It's still above average, but we've been in the 60s and 70s. We've been pretty spoiled the past couple of weeks, as it looks like once we hit the 50s, yeah, throw a little cloud cover in there, and it's not going to feel great. Even that stray chance at rain on Thursday. So 72 today, upper 60s tomorrow, 50s the next couple of days, 40s after that, maybe even some 30s there for the weekend. It just drops like a bad habit the next several days. We're at 38 on Sunday. Sunday is the possibility that we could push out a couple of flakes. Now remember, I said a possibility. This is a long ways away and none of this looks promising, but we're just saying there is a chance that we can see that for the weekend. And no big deals out of that. It's just, you know, it's the first day of spring.
Right.
I don't want to talk about the 70s.
Right, but you make the point. We're ahead of the game. I mean, it had felt that way, but to see that we actually have had that
Absolutely.
those warmer days,
Nice.
it has. No doubt. 5:49 right now. A Wisconsin town is going Irish this week, of course, in honor of St. Patrick's Day. A team of leprechauns arrived in New London yesterday to change the town's name to New Dublin. The tradition began more than 30 years ago when several people staged an impromptu parade on St. Patrick's Day. That once impromptu parade now has turned into the largest parade in Wisconsin. Officials say as many as 30,000 people are expected to attend Saturday's grand parade. It features at least 120 entries now. Other activities planned this week include some Irish caroling, social gatherings, and corned beef and cabbage dinners. Lots of folks will get in on the fun. It's going to be interesting around here on Thursday when you have the Kentucky game and the need to wear blue, and it being St. Patrick's Day and it being a green day. So we'll see. We'll all come up with interesting outfits, I guess. Rolling toward 5:50 now, and in just a moment we'll take a look at the news coming up. Also, a look at the traffic situation and some health reports ahead on WKYT this morning. Good morning. Welcome back into WKYT this morning. It's 5:53. Micah tells us it's going to be a nice day ahead, so let's enjoy that. And let's take a look at some of the stories we're working on at this hour. A judge is scheduled to make a ruling in the state's lawsuit against a Lexington women's clinic today. Governor Bevin's administration claims the EMW clinic has been performing abortions illegally. Voters in 5 delegate-rich states are heading to the polls today to decide who should be their party's presidential nominee. Republican Donald Trump is expected to beat Marco Rubio in Florida's crucial primary, but he remains locked in a fierce battle with John Kasich in Ohio, the governor there. Meanwhile, Democrat Hillary Clinton is facing a challenge from Bernie Sanders in the Midwestern states of Ohio, Missouri, and Illinois. Russia is expected to begin withdrawing most of its forces from Syria today. The country's president, Vladimir Putin, made the surprise announcement yesterday, saying Russia had mostly achieved its objectives. The decision came during a partial ceasefire that has curbed the violence in Syria in recent weeks. A new study looks at the best ways to quit smoking. Brooke Silva-Braga has some of the day's medical headlines.
Genetically inherited high cholesterol is twice as common as previously thought. That's according to a study from the American Heart Association. 1 in every 250 Americans is now believed to suffer from the condition, but the numbers are much higher for older and heavier Americans. Researchers may have found a new treatment against the viruses that cause mono, herpes, and shingles. Scientists at the University of Utah made the unexpected discovery that a medicine used for heart failure might also work to block these infections. Until now, there's only been one class of medicine against herpes viruses and no backup in case patients are resistant. The best way for most people to quit smoking is cold turkey. A study in the Annals of Internal Medicine found even smokers who preferred quitting gradually were 25% more likely to keep their pledge if they gave up smoking all at once. Those are some of the day's top health stories. Brooke Silva-Braga for CBS News, New York.
Now at 5:55, let's check live drive traffic this morning, see what is going on. We really have no trouble spots this morning. Already just a bit of a slowdown, as you see, on outbound Richmond Road this morning, inside Jacobson Park as you approach New Circle Road this morning. So be careful in that area. It's always, of course, it gets a little busy around the Circle and Richmond Road early in the morning, and we already see that right now. No reports of any major accidents, delays, or problems this morning, but we'll keep you informed as we go through the morning. On WKYT.com, the battle over how to spend more than $20 billion collected from Kentucky taxpayers will really get rolling today. House Democrats expected to present a budget that removes cuts to higher education that Governor Bevin is calling for. House Republicans have a competing proposal, so we'll be staying on top of that for you out of Frankfort. Also trending, the video of those two kayakers going over Cumberland Falls. They've been cited for trespassing, but they talked to us about what led them to ride over the Niagara of the South. Here's a question with no easy answer. Who has the rights to your digital afterlife? As technology evolves, we find ourselves scrambling to keep up, and some are having directives put in their wills about what happens to their digital records, but it's more complicated than that. Check out our WKYT investigation. It's available on demand. And look for our coverage of March Madness. The Kentucky men headed to Des Moines to start NCAA play, and we now know the women will get to play at home. Coach Matthew Mitchell hoping for a good crowd when the Wildcat women play UNC Asheville Saturday afternoon at Memorial Coliseum. Kentucky.com with more on the new option for Kentuckians to register to vote or change their registration online. And CBS This Morning is coming up in about an hour at 7 with your Eye Opener. And of course, we'll have local updates as well. They'll have all the latest from the campaign trail. Well, join us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter or Instagram. And for the latest anytime, WKYT.com.
And I'm focusing on these temperatures. The next hour of WKYT News comes up in just a couple of minutes.